can take over. Hey, Dan, Brad, how was Wednesday?
Hey, Scott. Thank you for that fantastic intro, as usual. Bradley, good friend, how are you? And talk to me about your audio.
Well, you sound pretty good. How about me? Can you hear me?
You sound fantastic, and it's going to be so important today because, ladies and gentlemen, the title of today's Q&A is Stranger Danger. All the time I show you guys my desktop and the way I have it set up. It's all about me, Brad.
It's not about you. It's not about you anymore.
No,
Dan Tana, are you raising your hand over there?
But that's me right there, correct? Brad, let's give them the show that they've all been waiting for, Trade Ideas as advisors. So if you need professional investment advice, please consult a registered investment advisor, which, Brad, as you know, we are not.
Nor you or I.
Right. But we don't judge. All right. You guys have seen this before. This is a standard intro that we do. You are dealing with not a Johnny come lately, fly by nighter, not one of these kind of like side superheroes, Brad, that gets killed off quickly in the X-Men. No.
We're going to make it to the end.
You guys are dealing with Wolverine. We self-heal. Okay, we've been doing this since 2003. Okay, and since then we have never raised any money, just used our own capital, fortune that you guys subscribe to us, and we have developed the most amazing and most powerful stock market data processing platform. That's what we are. And this platform includes simulated trading, and it is made by developers right here in the great US of A. If there was going to be any outsourcing that we would do, Brad and I would personally go to the Indian reservations and do insourcing.
There you go.
Pachanga, the Cherokee.
We don't have our shortage in Southern California, do we?
We do not. Okay. So, moves and counter moves. This was something we talked about last week. And the reason that I brought this up is because trading is one of these things that, number one, it's a skill in it that is both science and art. And if you find joy in it and do it well, it's something that can last a lifetime. Very few things are like that. It is something that can challenge your mind, and every single day it's a new trading experience. But the truth of it is moves and counter moves. It's not a one move game and then hope. In fact, Brad, it's kind of ironic, so many similarities to the chessboard, surfing, golf, all those things that we talk about. Whereas in golf, you've got the different clubs for different things. In surfing, people wait for the right waves. And they have different sized boards. There's long boards, short boards. Just like in chess, you've got the pawns, you've got the rooks, the kings, the knights. All these things have different meaning and they have different powers. And so the same goes for trading, because in trading, you have been unfortunately miseducated to only buy and hold. That is maybe one of the biggest lies that's been put on the face of the US and general world investing public. That's not the name of the game. The name of the game is doing it right.
There is something similar about all the sports that and I'll include chess as a sport that you mentioned there, and that is that in order to get better, you have to practice. You have to put time into it, and by doing that, and that's one of the reasons why we built the simulated trading module. We built Brokerage Plus first, which was your kind of live introduction, being able to trade directly with a broker through Trade Ideas, but quickly realized that it was really important to have some education in that and some experience under your belt without actually having to risk capital.
And Brad, let's move on to the next slide, because it really just talks exactly about this whole concept, which is learning how. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be looking at Brad Williams's desktop today on two primary things. Brad, I'm kind of giving you the lay of the land, and I think they are, of course,
everybody's top of mind is what we call our Omni, but I'm looking at Omni AI, which kind of rolls them all up into one particular. So 10 trades suggests you start out at the beginning of the day presented with the variety
spin on it, then just how important. And do this. Everything is set, Brad. That's why I put in in last week, that chess example.
Out on ACB here to manage that trade more effectively. We give you really 3 different profitable the day, but no matter what it is, you have the ability to your risk management for every signal. A great way is this risk-based stop. You can see here on this 8 here that it could be trading before you get threshold. We're suggesting that you want to go ahead and exit that position the whole time. Ultimate moderate mode is really trying to hold that position until the end of done from a profit to here in a consolidated per 636 LAC. Got it. I didn't get in. Tough market day. You know, there's a lot of day.
Going through it, and as you know, again, I just remind myself of what an amazing thing it is for somebody who's new. Everybody wants to teach you how to trade stakes no matter what. And number 2,
and you're introduced
intrinsic now. But as you and I were learning, we unfortunately we're in an environment in the facing out times are okay. We know that most people don't risk-based. Brad, you know that when we were
presenting this idea mode, so right here, visual reference and the data.
12,000 computers, and each computer is looking at that one stock and trying to study it and do what it needs to do to figure out what statistical moves the stock is making. And because we do that, we give you this ability to learn in a way that you've never experienced the stock market before. You're going to get to see moves in stocks, as about the new stocks that aren't being covered by anybody anywhere. Okay. You're going to see moves, and we're going to show them to you today, that are so outrageous that you're like, how come nobody talks about this on the news? You know, Brad, like the stocks that we're going to mention on the in the Surgeon channel.
Yep,
but the bottom line is, back to what we were saying, and this is just a simple thing. This is designed to make fewer mistakes and chances to succeed in this game. And this is, Brad, as you know, by showing you example after example after example in a non-follow the guru sort of way. You just can't follow a human trader the way you can this AI. That's what, Brad, that's why I think we're so strongly poised to take over the Inc. 5000, as people realize this is the only way to learn. Okay, forget the indicators. From the indicator point of view, honestly, it's almost the way today's indicators are. It's almost like a coin flip. Okay, you can go long, you can go short, it doesn't matter. But the risk management part that's associated with everything is the critical part. And that's where the AI doesn't make mistakes, and it continues through repetition by teaching you, hey, you have great days, you also have not so great days, but you never have a disaster.
Right on. I mean, so this is the next slide a little bit later, and ended up selling it here, but just another nice solid mover, and you know, another multi-day move. Ultimately, you can make the decision here at the end of the day, had you gotten this nice price here where you're a couple points up in it, where you have a much stronger position whether to decide to hold it or not. You know, much better to do that than to be down 50 cents or 25 cents and try to hold it and hope and pray overnight that it's going to go up. Much better to put you in a position of profitability to make that decision. A couple others, I won't go through everyone here. Let's just, another short in ALB, another painless trade here. Got short, I mean, it did move up a little bit, like about 70 cents or so before it actually snapped and broke down. But look, you're not always going to get lucky or always be in the money and never have any pain in a trade. That's not realistic at all. And then finally, we had this one here. This was a pretty nice move here, SCON. Ended up selling this thing after the trend, something on the downside here, which really brings me to some of these other moves that we had today. There's a nice little window that Barry shares out in the trading room. I suggest everybody experiences that, goes and checks it out. You can hit it from our website up on the top menu, hit trading room and go in there, and Barry's showing his screen live throughout the day and making calls, and he shares a bunch of different windows that he uses regularly, and this is a really nice one. This is a really simple basic new high and low window. Let me duplicate it, because what I want to do is I want to show you the insides without erasing the contents of it right here. It's just a history. So I'm going to go into configure, and I want to show you exactly, I mean, keeping it simple is really, I think it's the name of the game here. I'm going to go ahead and just show you what the filters are set up here. And look, change from the close. For a stock to come through this list right here, it's got to be up pretty significant, 4%. Dan was mentioning that we keep data on every single stock of what's normal, crazy behavior for all different time frames, whether it's volume or price action. Particular to volume, this relative volume filter that we have looks at a stock's volume cumulatively at that point in time and compares it to normal. So a simple value of 3 right there is telling you that it's doing 300% or 3 times normal volume at that time of day, cumulative to that point. So it's a real significant value. It's simple, but it's significant. A little bit of volume today in the stock, the price between 1 and 20, you can make that anything you want. And then this count filter right here, which is really telling you how many times the stock has made either a new high or new low. And we're saying that for it to come into this window right here, it has to have at least made 60 new highs or 60 new lows to populate. So it's really super simple, nothing crazy going on here at all. And at the end of the day, we had a list of 9 different ideas presented. And if we go through it, we can kind of see exactly how it's presenting these ideas. So it's spotted SPI very early in this stock right here. I know you were talking about this one earlier with me, Dan, but this just had the most incredible percentage move today, even after the pullback that it had, closing, well, in pre-market, it's at $20 right now. That's still up 1,857%. What was it when it was here? It was like, it was just such a huge number. I don't even remember. It was so big. Yeah.
Look at your alerts on it. You obviously were looking at this beforehand. This is the other so one of the things that Brad's showing you, he's showing you the names, but he's actually showing you 2 things. And 2 of them are that Brad was notified to this SPI because of his price alerts.
Right here, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
These are the 2 little things, by the way. If you're learning and you're trying to figure out if you're doing the right thing, I can say, well, Brad has some good instincts. You know why? Well, because he already triggered this move. He would have been in this thing under 10. Okay. And again, we do this for a lot of stuff. That's Brad, our 1, 2, 3, right? You trade almost after hours. The best time to do is have a glass of wine, pull up trade ideas at night, sit down and put in your price alerts on stocks that you don't know yet. Brad, maybe real quick, give them the good old fashioned Twitter heart, big guy.
Yeah, right there. So, there's so much stuff in the software. The heart right there, it basically saves it to a my liked symbol list, which allows me to pull it up in one of the channels that we have. You can also build your own windows off of it and such, but we have a stocks I like channel right here, which gives you a top list and alert window just specifically based on the stocks that you've hearted. So it's going to give you ideas throughout the day on those particular symbols. But like I said, you could create your own top list or do other things with that as well. And then what Dan was saying with the price alert, you see these 2 green lines that were triggered right here. If I wanted, so let's just say the stock moves up to 24, let's just make it $25. I'm going to create a price alert at $25. You could put a note in here. I typically don't, but you could put a note. Now I have a price alert. I can move on. The next day comes, the next week comes. When that threshold gets crossed, I'm going to be presented an alert here. It gives me an audible signal. It calls out the symbol SPI. I can click on it, pull it up, and then make that decision as to, what do I want to do with it? How much broader market doing? Is this something that I want to take a position in? These are the things that I'm going to ask myself as that price alert gets triggered and I pull it up. So sympathy to this right here. If you just look at this window here, we're going to see a lot of similar type of moves right here, where it's looking for high relative volume, stocks that are up and on big volume and a big percentage move for the day. So this guy here, boy, this thing had a huge move too, pulled all the way back. Look at that daily bar, it's just incredible. So you can't be trading these things if you're a new, you can do it in simulation mode, but I don't recommend moving to these high flyers just to start off. That's not what I'm recommending at all. What I'm showing you here is that our software has the ability to hone in and dial in these particular stocks that are exhibiting incredible behavior that's far different than normal.
Powerful, as you were saying before, is that if this is the only window you have, at least for the upside. By the way, Brad, maybe you can show people a duplicate flip.
What do you want me to do?
Duplicate and flip.
Oh yeah. Well, this one is not a good flip candidate, but I'll show you one. The reason why this isn't a good flip candidate because it's got highs and lows. The MNOV is really the low, so we've got both in here. But I'll show you. I've got
Right.
another thing that I want to bring in, so let me do that. So kind of along the same lines right here, we've got on the surge channel. So if you go down and you go to the surge channel, I've got a window in there, stock surging, called most upward momentum. It's a great little window because what it does is it takes a look at every stock making new highs and it ranks it based on the number of new highs it's made. Kind of what I'm doing right here with this breaking out on volume on the post market. So these are stocks right here, like SPI just happens to be the leader of the pack here, having 323 new post-market highs, but this is giving me this real-time hierarchical list here of stocks making highs. And you can see it's making a high because it turns black, gives you that color notification, and then it disappears. And so it's just a great way to really spot the momentum. And this the count filter and the count column is really something that's really underused in the software. That's why I'm kind of pointing it out to you here. So one of the things with respect to Dan was talking about was the flip. I can take a window like this, which is just looking at those post-market highs, and I can duplicate it. You can duplicate any of our windows, make any subtle adjustments that you want to it, or you can go into it and go to configure. We've got this little flip button on the lower right. If I hit that, it's going to inverse everything. Now, I don't have a lot of stuff in here. I don't have filters, but if I did, it would inverse the applicable ones there as well. So let's say I'm only looking for stocks that are up 4% for the day. By doing that flip, it's going to make it stocks that are down 4% for the day. It took my post-market highs and it made it post-market low. I guess it's not a great example because it's so simple, but for everything, it's going to be generating that in the list. And alternatively, that right there is it's using my group and sort. But I can do a normal type of window over here where I've got the newest first always coming through. So you can present the data to yourself in a way that's most consumable, that you're going to be able to ingest most effectively.
Brad, I think what you're really talking about here is the hands-on power of the software, and almost anything that you could do, you kind of can do. It's just that, like anything where you want to attain a skill level, as Brad said before, practice makes perfect. You need to use it. This is not trading, isn't something where you just, people kind of want this, Brad, uber simple thing, and I get it, right? But what if the thing that you're doing itself is not uber simple? Active investing isn't completely simple. What they want you to believe is, of course, it's you buy and go away. Well, that's simple because you're giving all control to other people, okay? But come on now.
I think I kind of went through one of the critical steps right here to make your window function like this right here. I think I just popped it up. But if you right click in here and you go to properties and you select first is this window, you're getting it chronologically based. The newest alert's always going to be on top. But if you set it to group and sort, then you can pick one of your columns and you can make that column be the sorting column. And count is a really nice one to do that too. So I was asked to share this out. Let me do that. Let me go to the cloud here. I'm going to save or share to the cloud, and I've got a few of these, so let me grab a couple of them. We've got the breaking out on volume, and I've got the flipped. Let me also include the basic new highs and lows. Copy that, and I'm going to drop it in the chat, and you guys should be able to grab it from there. Oh, I left. One sec.
And this is a great example of how easy it is to share in our software. So if you're working with other people, all you do is you use our cloud linking, and this kind of URL allows you to somebody else for ideas and see how they differ from yours. It's a very powerful sharing technology. So you're not stuck alone ever, especially on getting immediate gratification to a window because it's that easy.
So I went to the stocks surging channel, and this is the window that I was alluding to earlier. This is the most upward momentum. It's looking at new highs, and it's sorting it here on the count. So you can always go to the window, the stock surging channel right here. And this is kind of the process that I use to build my own custom channel. I go through these channels and peruse them, look for windows that I may like or want to do a little modification to. Like, let's say I want to grab this one right here. So I will just right click, I will pin it. That way when I change channels, it's not going to disappear. I can go to another channel. Let's go to the Alpha Predator channel. This is a great little channel because it's looking for stocks no matter what's happening in the market. Market could be flatlining dead. There's always going to be something happening here on this particular channel. And it doesn't look at very expensive stocks. It looks at stocks generally under $20. And let's just grab a window here. Let's take the Alpha Predator. I could duplicate it, but I'm just gonna pin this one and move it over here. So now I've grabbed two windows. And now I can start building my own layout. And once you build your own layout and you set it up the way that you want, now let me just go ahead and unpin these now, because I'm gonna go ahead and show you a custom channel that I made. And that's my custom channel here up at the top. And this is really a compilation of a variety of different windows that are mostly from the channel bar. Some are made from scratch outside of that, but this is kind of my go-to layout. I may peruse different channels throughout the day. I may grab a window or create something based on what I want to look at, but really this is just kind of my go-to set. And in here I've got, like on my other monitor, I do have an Alpha Predator window. I've got a window from the Account Builder channel. Here, this is a multi-strat, different independent alert strategies in it, all kind of rolled up into a single, really powerful window. I've got two windows here. If I want to just look at the stocks that had a real wide range bar for the day, and this is great during midday when it's building, not so much at the end of the day, although it's great for research too. But if I want to see something breaking out or doing something interesting in the middle of the day, I'll just grab this and look here. I think it's a great window, so I've always got that handy right there. My single stock, which is so powerful, it's got news embedded in it right here. Depending on the stock that I'm looking at, I can drill into relevant news. I can see exactly what they do from a business summary, what sectors, industry groups they're in, how the insiders have been trading that stock. Are they accumulating, getting rid of their stock? What's going on with the insiders of the company? And then the similar tab, which I think is phenomenal, because this is looking at, well, we give you two different ways to configure it. If you're looking at competitors, it's drilling down into the sub-industry group. So if I pull up a stock, it's going to find all the other stocks in that same sub-industry group. If I go to price action, it's going to take a look at some of the filters on both a longer and shorter term time frame and present you with some symbols that are behaving in a similar way. My price alerts, that thing is always, I'm using that probably more than anything during the day. And just a couple charts. And then over my other window, I've got a Brokerage Plus window. I've got an upward momentum window that I showed you from the Surge channel. I've got a recently traded top list. So stocks that I've recently traded and I'm out of, I'll drop it into a symbol list and I'll just have a top list. And then I can really see of the stocks that I got out, should I be considering getting back into one of them, or, just kind of something that I use there. And then I've got another alert window here. Yeah, another alert window right here where I'm just looking at my stocks that I'm in. And this is just, it's so basic. It's looking at new highs and new lows, but of my portfolio. That's really about it. And then I have the other window I have are just the AI trades. So I'm always looking at the AI trades coming over.
Well, Brad, I think when I see the way, what you're kind of showing is that the level of customizability keeps ratcheting up, right? Although you start with a fully functional method from just the channel bar, right? If you don't have any of these setups, you really can use the channel bar without any kind of setup whatsoever. It's already designed for anything and everything you need. But as you get better and better, you can just keep adding to this knowledge base, and then eventually you can customize the windows slightly like the way Brad's showing you. You can use all the sort of tips and tricks like duplicate, and eventually even have your own channel bar that is customized as Brad does here. So that is how powerful the tool is. There's so much for you to learn, because once again, this isn't like, instant message. you know, or other things that people always want to equate everything to, like everything's going mobile, everything's going on the phone. And I got to say, Brad, I mean, although the phone could be cool, like if you're away to look at your portfolio and account fluctuations and make maybe some risk management decisions, but certainly when you're if you're initiating any kind of strategy, or if you're in like a work mode where you're engaged with the market, you need a dual monitor setup, not a phone. I actually have 3, and one of them's a gigantic TV. And I know you do too, Brad. I mean, why does everybody want you on the phone?
Yeah, I know. You know, the phone has its purpose. It really does. But from an idea generation perspective, and that's what we're talking about here, we're talking about generating ideas for you trading. You need a little more space. I mean, of course, you know, if you're like looking at a particular stock and it does something, okay, I want to do that. You can do that on your phone, of course. But there are a lot of symbols out there. Things are moving all the time. And if you want to be most effective with your capital, you want to be putting it in something that's going to be moving, hopefully in the direction that you want it to be. But, you know, if it's flatlining and not really moving, your capital's not working for you. And if you're not in a position, it's not working for you either.
Yeah. Guys, I think one of the things that you and I, Brad, are benefiting from is that as more and more eyes are on the market, because it is the pulse of the world to a large extent, people realize that there isn't really a competitor to what we do. And I'm not saying there's not other good vendors out there that do good things, but we've just had such the advantage of doing everything for ourselves, customized to this real-time data analysis, that we're kind of light years ahead. And the stuff that we're bringing out, ladies and gentlemen, the full, like, again, all focused on your account and equity, because ultimately that's all that we care about. We don't care about RSI, PPT, CCP, Q, S, TUV. We don't care about any of these letters. It's your equity. It needs to go up. I mean, for all of us to be happy. And that's what we're going to help you track. And you know that the brokers aren't doing it, so we are. Brad, I think, I mean, unless somebody's got more questions, I feel
yeah,
like
I do have one question that I wanted to nail out here, and it had to do with the difference between the 2 different profit saves that we have, because we have 2 different icons for them here. I'll talk about that and what reduced risk does. So profit save. If your profit save, essentially what a profit save is, and let's pull one up here so we can kind of take a look at what's going on here. Zoom in a little to give us a, you can see the profit save is right here. You can see the gradient. We have a darker gradient and then a lighter gradient. The darker gradient is your conservative mode here, and at the end of getting out, this is where you got out. And the reason why the profit save was triggered right here is because it ran up to a certain move up and it pulled back a certain level. And at that pulling back of a certain level, it decided to cut it out and to get out of the position. It's going to be gold here if that profit save results in a positive, profitable trade. It's going to be white here if it did not result in something being profitable. So those are the 2 different icons that you have here. And the reduced risk is, it's an early signal out to be stopped out. So when the algorithm reduced risk is generated, essentially it's looking at the stock and anticipating a continued decline. It doesn't like the original call on it, and it's really telling you that this is a point here where we suggest you may want to consider cutting the position, even though your stop hasn't been hit, and even though the time horizon, the time stop hasn't been hit either.
Brad, we have a question from David here about, maybe you can touch upon what's the difference between the downloadable version and the web?
Yeah, so they're both really, really robust. I'll bring up the web version here and then talk a little bit about the difference. So you can get to it right from our website, web access up at the top. So if you're sharing, the windows work very, channel window is really just an embedded window, whereas it's still free-floating windows on the desktop. But really the only difference that we have right now is that Brokerage Plus, likely it'll be in Q1 of next year, but that will be going into the software, and that's really the main difference. You have all the same channels, mostly the same channels. There are a couple more sophisticated channels on the desktop version that don't translate very well to the web version, but for the most part, they're all there. And sharing between windows, very, very easy. Sharing between platforms, very easy. Again, if you know how to use one of them, you're going to know how to use the other one. you know, alerts, top lists, access to all the same windows, the same cloud sharing, and the AI. So it's all in there.
So Brad, what I want to do is, so I want to just touch upon a couple of quick questions that people had, and I'm going to answer them sort of real quick. So number one, you know, we talked about the AI, but of course, guys, before the AI there was already automation. In other words, the AI was just an extension of what we used to do, which was design our own strategies and automate them. So of course, you can design, backtest your own strategy and automate that aside from anything that you're doing on the artificial intelligence. So lots of power there. You can really customize something just completely for yourself, nothing having to do with anything that we do. So there's lots of explorers, spelunkers out there who are working the software, looking for different edges that even we're not exploring. Okay, the other question was, what new features are coming out? And I want to really focus there on, there is no finish line for us. We're continuing to innovate. And we just, you know, added simulated trading relatively recently, and we're continuing to improve that experience. What we're going to be doing is we're going to make it easier for you to, let's say you're in your own simulated trading account, which you've been working and practicing on, but you already have an account ready to go that's live. Well, instead of like switching around, you can have both of them logged in and like add, and the trade that you are in simulated mode will be sent to your broker the way you want it sent, obviously. So there's lots of cool stuff happening there. The calendar view of your trades, which again, we have a tab for that you can see in Brad's Brokerage Plus. Yeah, Brad, do that real quick. Circle the calendar thingy. I don't think there's anything in there, but the calendar is your, every day you're going to be able to see how you did in whichever account that you're looking at. It's going to follow your trades, your equity. So you're going to have the cleanest view of what's going on with your money. Nobody's going to provide anything cooler than what we're doing. It's a calendar-based equity heat map that's going to give you more insight than you've had previously on how to execute. In the future, there's going to be, gosh, we're going to make it so that you can take advantage of the winners more. We're constantly looking at how do you better ride the winners, and that's where we're focusing on. Imagine you got into some trades. So let's say you got into a trade and you got out of a trade. What if as soon as that price of that stock reaches your exit, you're alerted to it, basically saying, hey, the trade that we used to be in, well, we're back on the good side. So you're constantly going to be reminded of things that are working. So those are kind of the high level things that
we're going to be bringing in some country flags, both into the single stock window and the top list and alert window, so you can quickly see the country of origin of the stocks that you're trading. We'll be adding some new filters. We've got EMA filters scheduled, increasing relative volume filter. I mean, like Dan said, there is no stop, and we're continuing to innovate. That's all we do is bring new features to the software. SMS notification and email notification, that's going to be improved upon.
Yeah, there's no finish line in terms of the innovation. Brad, I think we're pretty caught up. Let's go back to the slides and wrap it up.
All righty, let me try to find it.
Yeah, Andre's E-Trade is coming soon. Not it is coming. Okay, everyone, as you know, Barry Anderson, who's also assisting us on the Q&A here, wonderful moderator of our trading room, trade-ideas.com/trading room. It's a great way for anybody to get started, or, you know, Brad, we always say it's a great way to get started, but it's also kind of a good way, in my opinion, of like going to a golf coach. You know, just to dial in your swing. You know, take a look at what the pros are doing on their stops. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Get sort of a couple of opinions and see, are you even on the right track? These are the kinds of things that can happen in the trading room, and it is completely free to anyone who wants to give it a whirl. Just join us at trade-ideas.com/trading room.
Yeah, and I hear they had a pretty phenomenal day in there today. So yeah, you guys should.
Oh, absolutely.
got a free ebook for you guys. We have a couple of them. You can download the latest one here from trade-ideas.com/earnings. So this one is about earnings. And we will be approaching earnings season. We are in it right now again, aren't we?
Absolutely. We have a daily support session that works on all sorts of different levels, and you can get yourself signed up for a class and join it at trade-ideas.com/live. Our education is bar none, and we help you every day all throughout your experience with our software. Of course, as you know, you guys are venture capitalists, so without you, we wouldn't be here. We are a subscription as a service business, and here we show you how much it costs on a per day, okay, although we charge monthly and yearly. So the standard yearly rates under $3 a day, monthly under $4 a day, and for the premium on the monthly, you're talking about under $8 a day, and yearly under $7 a day. It's incredible considering we're the only consumer-facing AI where you get to use it for yourself. There's a promo code today if you want to get started, all savings and all caps, 15% off the first month or a year off Trade Ideas. We have a Friday podcast. Please search for that on your podcast search engine. Sean McLaughlin right now is kind of the leader of that, and we have lots of guests, lots of different things going on there, so please check that out at your convenience. And of course, we are very active on social media, at Trade Ideas, at QuantBot, at Today Trader. Please like us on Instagram, on Facebook, on any other kind of thing that opens up that everybody's on. Like us on TikTok, even though we're not there. Right, Brad?
We're not there.
We're not there, but you could like us there. Why not? Shoot us email if you have any questions at info@trade-ideas.com. We're grateful for you coming and spending time with us on our Q&A, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
I think we're done.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for that email notification with a link to the recording tomorrow. Bye.
Take care, all.
Bye, everybody.